What if Darth Vader claimed the Darksaber to rule Mandalore? The throne room of Moff Gideon's stronghold was eerily silent. The faint hum of the Darksaber in Gideon's hand was the only sound as the Moff stood before his opponent, Darth Vader. The towering Sith Lord loomed in the dim light, his crimson blade casting an ominous glow. "You overestimate your strength, Gideon," Vader intoned, his voice a cold, mechanical growl. Gideon sneered, brandishing the Darksaber. "You think you can simply take this from me? I am the rightful ruler of Mandalore." Vader did not respond. Instead, he raised his lightsaber and lunged. Gideon, while skilled, was no match for the Dark Lord of the Sith. The Darksaber clashed against Vader's blade, sparks flying with each strike. But it wasn't long before Vader's raw power overwhelmed him. With a single, devastating strike, Vader disarmed Gideon, the Darksaber flying from his grasp. Gideon stumbled back, fear evident in his eyes. "You are no ruler," Vader said, his voice dripping with disdain. "Only a pawn." With a flick of his wrist, Vader's blade slashed through Gideon, ending his life. The Darksaber floated into Vader's outstretched hand, its black blade igniting with a low hum. He turned to the Mandalorians present, their helmets reflecting the light of the saber. "I am your leader now," Vader declared, "and under my rule, Mandalore will rise to its rightful place as the ruler of the galaxy." Word of Vader's victory spread like wildfire. The clans of Mandalore, scattered and broken, began to rally behind the one who now wielded the Darksaber. Though many harbored resentment toward the Empire, Vader's promise of restoring Mandalore's glory was too powerful to ignore. Vader, as their leader, transformed the Mandalorians into an unstoppable force. Their armor became more advanced, their tactics more brutal, and their loyalty unshakable. System by system, the Mandalorians crushed opposition, claiming planets and resources to strengthen their cause. Vader's speeches to his people were as calculating as they were inspiring. "The Empire fears us because they know what we are capable of. Together, we will not just survive, we will conquer. We will take what is ours by right." As Mandalore's power grew, so did Palpatine's unease. The Emperor observed Vader's conquests with growing suspicion, aware that his apprentice was amassing power to rival the Empire itself. The Mandalorian fleet was vast, and their warriors were unmatched. Palpatine's spies whispered of Vader's ultimate goal, to overthrow the Emperor and seize control of the galaxy. Sidious summoned his inquisitors, all of them, to his throne room. Alongside them stood elite purge troopers and a host of bounty hunters, including the infamous Boba Fett. "You will remind Lord Vader of his place," Sidious hissed. "If he resists, destroy him." Vader, however, was always one step ahead. When the Inquisitors and their forces arrived on Mandalore, they found the Dark Lord waiting for them. The battle was swift and brutal. Vader had anticipated Palpatine's betrayal and prepared accordingly. The Mandalorian warriors, armed with advanced technology and unyielding resolve, tore through the purge troopers and bounty hunters. Vader himself faced the Inquisitors, one by one. The air crackled with the hum of lightsabers and the clash of Beskar steel. Vader dismantled them with terrifying precision, their combined strength no match for his mastery of the Force and his newfound Mandalorian arsenal. As the last Inquisitor fell, Vader addressed the surviving Mandalorians. "The Empire believes they can control us. They believe we will bow. They are mistaken." The Mandalorians erupted in cheers, their loyalty to Vader now absolute. Vader turned his full attention to the Empire. With the Mandalorians at his side, he began capturing key systems, cutting off the Empire's supply lines and dismantling their fleet piece by piece. Palpatine, for all his cunning, found himself on the defensive. The core worlds became the Empire's last stronghold, a desperate attempt to retain control. But Vader's forces were relentless. Finally, the Mandalorian fleet launched a full-scale invasion of the core worlds. Star destroyers burned in the skies, and legions of Mandalorian warriors overwhelmed the Imperial forces on the ground. The throne room of the Imperial Palace on Coruscant was eerily silent, save for the faint hum of distant machinery and the oppressive crackle of dark energy that seemed to radiate from the walls. Darth Vader, clad in black Mandalorian armor adorned with Beskar plates, entered the vast chamber. His crimson lightsaber hissed to life, its light reflecting ominously off the polished floors. In his other hand, the Darksaber ignited with a black glow that seemed to pull the very light out of the room. Emperor Palpatine sat on his throne, shrouded in shadow, his yellow eyes gleaming like twin suns of malice. He rose slowly, his voice low and mocking. "So, you come to claim the throne, my apprentice?" Palpatine's tone dripped with venom. "You have forgotten your place. This throne belongs to Mandalore now," Vader declared, his voice cold and resolute. "You have ruled through fear and manipulation, but your time is over." Palpatine's lips curled into a wicked smile. "Arrogance has always been your weakness, Lord Vader. Did you think your Mandalorian toys and baubles would make you my equal? You are still a broken man clinging to shadows." Without warning, Palpatine's hands shot forward, unleashing a devastating storm of Force lightning. The room lit up in flashes of violent blue as the lightning struck Vader's Beskar armor, the energy dissipating but still forcing him back. Vader crossed the Darksaber and his lightsaber in an X, absorbing the brunt of the attack. "You cannot stop me," Vader growled, pushing forward against the storm. "I am no longer your slave." The lightning ceased, and Palpatine moved with unnatural speed, his lightsaber igniting in a burst of red. He lunged at Vader, their blades colliding with a deafening crash. Sparks flew as crimson and black clashed in a furious exchange of blows. The room became a maelstrom of destruction. Palpatine moved like a serpent, his blade a blur of crimson as he struck with precision and malice. Vader, wielding both his lightsaber and the Darksaber, countered with strength and brutality, each strike of his blades sending shockwaves through the chamber. Palpatine's attacks were laced with cunning. He used the Force to hurl objects from across the room, statues, debris, and shattered panels, all aimed at disorienting Vader. But Vader's mastery of the Force had grown since his days as the Emperor's apprentice. He battered away the projectiles with contemptuous ease, his focus unshaken. "You grow tired, old man," Vader taunted, slashing downward with the Darksaber. The black blade carved through the air, its power undeniable. Palpatine sidestepped the blow, his movements deceptively fluid. "And you grow arrogant, as always." The Sith Lord leaped high into the air, spinning as he descended with a ferocious strike. Vader caught the blow with his crimson blade, their sabers locking in a clash that sent tremors through the floor. As their blades locked, Palpatine's hand shot forward, gripping Vader in a crushing Force choke. "You are nothing without me," Palpatine hissed, tightening his grip. "I created you. I gave you purpose." Vader's vision darkened as the pressure around his throat intensified. But instead of faltering, he reached deep into the Force, summoning strength born of rage and determination. With a roar, he unleashed a shockwave of energy that blasted Palpatine across the room. The Emperor hit the wall with a thud but recovered instantly, his laughter echoing in the vast chamber. "Yes, that's it. Embrace your anger, your hatred. You cannot defeat me without it." But Vader didn't respond. He advanced slowly, his blades humming menacingly. The Force swirled around him, a storm of power that threatened to consume the room. Palpatine grew visibly frustrated as Vader's attacks became more relentless. The Dark Lord's strength and precision were unparalleled, and the Darksaber's unique energy disrupted Palpatine's defenses. For the first time in decades, the Emperor felt a sliver of doubt. "You have grown strong, my apprentice," Palpatine admitted, his voice strained. "But strength alone is not enough." The Emperor raised both hands, summoning the full fury of the dark side. The room erupted into chaos as tendrils of lightning arced in every direction, the air crackling with raw energy. Vader stood in the center of the storm, his armor glowing red-hot as the lightning struck him. With a defiant roar, Vader thrust the Darksaber into the floor. The weapon absorbed the lightning, channeling the energy through its black blade. The ground beneath them cracked and shattered, creating a shockwave that sent Palpatine sprawling. The Emperor rose slowly, his cloak tattered and his face twisted in fury. "You cannot kill me, Anakin," he spat, using Vader's former name like a dagger. "You are too weak to finish what you started." Vader's grip on the Darksaber tightened. "Anakin Skywalker is dead. I am what remains." Their final clash was ferocious. Palpatine used every trick in his arsenal, from illusions to devastating force attacks, but Vader's power was relentless. He drove the Emperor back, his strikes raining down with unyielding ferocity. Palpatine stumbled, his defenses faltering. Desperation flickered in his yellow eyes as Vader loomed over him, the Darksaber raised high. "You underestimated me," Vader said, his voice cold and resolute, "and that will be your undoing." But just as Vader prepared to strike, Palpatine's lips twisted into a grin, a twisted, malevolent expression that sent a chill through the air. "Did I?" he hissed, his voice dripping with venom. Before Vader could react, Palpatine raised both hands, unleashing a massive surge of dark-side energy. The force of it exploded outward, catching Vader off guard and sending him flying across the throne room. The Darksaber skittered from his grip, its black blade extinguishing as it spun across the floor. Vader struggled to rise, but the weight of the Force pressed him down like a crushing tidal wave. Palpatine's laughter echoed through the chamber, his broken body suddenly standing tall, fueled by a surge of power unlike anything Vader had ever felt. "You thought yourself my equal?" Palpatine sneered, advancing with deliberate slowness. "You are a child playing at being a god." Vader clawed at the floor, summoning the Force to push back against the invisible pressure holding him down, but it was no use. Palpatine was in his element now, the room crackling with energy as his power filled every corner of the chamber. With a flick of his wrist, Palpatine summoned the Darksaber to his hand. He examined it briefly, a look of disdain crossing his face. "This toy," he said, his voice cold and dismissive, "a relic for lesser beings." With a gesture, he crushed the hilt with the Force, the weapon disintegrating into shards that clattered to the floor. Vader roared in fury, his crimson blade igniting once more as he surged forward. Their blades clashed again, but now the balance of power had shifted. Palpatine moved with precision and speed, his strikes perfectly timed to exploit every weakness in Vader's form. Each blow forced Vader back, the strength of the Emperor's attacks seeming to grow with every passing second. "Your rebellion was futile from the start," Palpatine said, his voice calm and mocking. "Did you really believe you could stand against me? I am the Sith. I am the galaxy." Vader tried to rally, drawing upon the reserves of his strength, but Palpatine was relentless. The Emperor's mastery of the dark side was absolute, and he used it to devastating effect. Lightning crackled from his fingertips, striking Vader with punishing force. Each arc of electricity tore through his armor and flesh, leaving scorched marks and filling the air with a stench of burning. "You were always a pawn," Palpatine spat, driving his lightsaber through Vader's shoulder. The crimson blade seared through armor and muscle, forcing Vader to drop his own weapon. "A blunt instrument to serve my will. And now, like all tools, You have outlived your usefulness." Vader fell to his knees, gasping for breath as Palpatine loomed over him. The Emperor's face was a mask of triumph, his yellow eyes glowing with malice. "Goodbye, Lord Vader," Palpatine said, raising his blade for the final strike. The throne room was silent save for the hum of Palpatine's lightsaber. He looked down at the lifeless body of Darth Vader, once the most feared enforcer in the galaxy, now reduced to a broken shell. With a wave of his hand, the Emperor summoned the pieces of Vader's shattered armor, forming them into a grotesque display that he hung in the throne room as a warning to all who might dare oppose him. News of Vader's death spread quickly, and with it, the last embers of rebellion were extinguished. The Mandalorians, leaderless and broken, were forced to kneel before the Emperor. The systems Vader had captured were swiftly brought back under Imperial control, their leaders executed or subjugated. Palpatine declared himself the supreme ruler of the galaxy, his authority unchallenged. He kept the remains of the Darksaber as a symbol of his conquest, reforged into a weapon of fear and dominance. The galaxy, united under his iron grip, became a realm of absolute order, its people cowed into submission by the overwhelming power of the Sith. Drop the scenarios you would like to see in the comments, and I will pick one every week. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.